Hello everyone. Well, during these times of quarantine, illness, protests, and rage, it can kind of seem a little like the world is ending, doesn't it? While trying to keep up with the news, or doing what little we can to be able to help out, or even just trying to keep our heads above water in our own lives, it's tempting to throw in the towel. But pandemics are not new to the world, and unfortunately neither is fear and hate. While trying to think of something to say to you all, I was reminded of one of my favorite passages in 1 Kings. But before I read you the passage in 1 Kings, I thought I'd give you a little context. I'm sure many or all of you have heard of the prophet Elijah. The prophet Elijah is considered to be one of the greatest prophets in all of the Abrahamic traditions. During his time, the king that ruled over Israel was named Ahab, and Ahab was a vicious, childish, and selfish ruler. When he was asked about the prophet Elijah, Ahab said, "Who, him? Ugh, I hate that guy. He never has anything nice to say about me." After one rather dramatic incident involving the prophets of Baal, Elijah fled into the mountains, and because he knew that Ahab intended to kill him. But while he was hiding in the mountains, Elijah grew disheartened and depressed, understandably, I think, until he heard the voice of the Lord say in 1 Kings chapter 19, verses 9 through 12, "What are you doing here, Elijah?" And Elijah replied, "I have been very zealous for the Lord God Almighty. The Israelites have rejected your covenant, torn down your altars, and put your prophets to death with the sword. I am the only one left, and now they are trying to kill me too." The Lord said, "Go out and stand on the mountain in the presence of the Lord, for the Lord is about to pass by." Then a great and powerful wind tore the mountains apart and shattered the rocks before the Lord. But the Lord was not in the wind. And after the wind, there was an earthquake. But the Lord was not in the earthquake. And after the earthquake came a fire. But the Lord was not in the fire. And then after the fire came a gentle whisper. I love this passage. What I think that this passage is telling us is that violence, bigotry, hate, illness, and tragedy, they will always, unfortunately, be with us. But God is not in those things. God is in the stillness and in the peace that we have to actively sit and pay attention to in order to find Him. And how I find my peace is by sometimes being creative or by inspiring others to be creative. But how you find your peace might look a little different. You just have to sit and be still for a moment and pay attention. Now, does that mean that we should be inactive? Well, if we use the prophet Elijah as our example, I think it's clear that the answer is no. The prophet Elijah was one of the most active prophets ever written about. He was constantly criticizing the leadership, challenging the status quo, while also doing a few things that we might not be particularly comfortable with these days. But he was out there, fighting for a better life for his people. May we all be like the prophet Elijah. May we fight for what's right while also finding God in the still, gentle voice.